Well, as you've said, many companies already have good, strong links with universities, and they're really thinking very often about the research work that universities do. And most people immediately say that they go to universities for research. But I think one of the areas where we're not so good at linking with universities is really in the area of using the huge body of knowledge and expertise that they already have in the universities and drawing from that previous research that they've already got there, perhaps allied to the facilities, specialist data sets that they've got, and using that immediately rather than thinking about another research programme. And I think if more companies thought about using the body of knowledge rather than just thinking about doing more research programmes, then hugely greater impact could be made, more value drawn from the university base. Oh yes, I mean I think I do in our own company, and many of my colleagues that I know in similar positions to myself working with universities in their respective companies really do value these and appreciate them. I think we genuinely would say on this occasion thank you to the government for making these available to us. Having said that, there are a myriad of these schemes, and it is quite a challenge to keep track of them all, understand them, and know all the subtle nuances and the differences, and that's quite a cost overhead. So the simpler that they can be, the more similar that they are, and the easier that they are to use, then the more we would appreciate them. The other factor is that very often the schemes are designed so that it's the university that is trying to promote the use of its technology to the company. On our side, from the company point of view, the schemes that we probably like the best are the ones where we can have greater say over perhaps what challenge or problem or issue we want to have addressed by the university, and that the university then focus their good work against some of those objectives. So it's really putting it slightly the other way around. Some of the schemes that we use do have that flexibility, and we really like those. Some of them it's much more the university trying to promote their technologies and their research to us, and it's more difficult to fit those sometimes to what we want, and there's a bit more of a mismatch between us. But overall, yes, we do value and like these schemes. Well, as you imply, the current economic climate really is having quite a big impact on companies and the way they work with universities. Many of the benefits are not expected to accrue for a longer period of time, but what is happening is that the companies are having to review their expenditure and wanting to justify the expenditure that they're making and be really sure that it is going to accrue the benefits that they expect, even if they don't come through for some while. The other thing that's happening is that many companies that we associate with are global organisations themselves, and they're looking increasingly at universities worldwide. There may be good universities close to their sites overseas. People who are doing good research in those universities can often actually help on a local basis. There may be other advantages as well. International universities have different approaches to how they handle intellectual property, and that might actually simplify matters for the universities and for the companies. So the different relationships emerging, and it's meaning that the UK universities, where they've traditionally perhaps worked with certain companies, are being competed increasingly with international institutions. One of the other factors that's coming to play is, in the current climate, inevitably companies are looking at the costs not only of the commitments that they're making to the universities, but the costs of their own staff internally who are involved with the links that they have with the universities. What that means is that relationships with the universities take quite a lot of time. It's the personal contacts. I often say that the goods and services provided by universities are not delivered in a jiffy bag through stores. And that means that the brain cells have to interact. And if the companies are wanting to use their own staff in hard-pressed areas, cut down the costs, it might be shortening the interaction time with the university sector. And that's inevitably going to reduce the benefit that flows through to the companies later on. In fact, it's not just the contract value we find that is the cost of the contract with the universities, but it's that interaction time as well. Sometimes the contract value itself bears no relation to the value at all. And it's the interaction between the staff in the company, the staff in the university, how much that can bring back to the company is really, really valuable. Also, that's where the benefit comes to the university. It's hearing from the company staff what's going on in the company, how the market sector works, that draws the value for the universities. So that's the area of concern we're really worried about, is if the current economic climate cuts the amount of interaction between the university people and the company staff.